Hello, for today's Excel video tip, we're going to be talking about the HLOOKUP formula. Now, most of you are probably familiar with the VLOOKUP formula, and the HLOOKUP formula is very similar. If you're not familiar with the VLOOKUP formula, I would recommend that you watch the VLOOKUP formula video before proceeding to this video, because that one seems to be a little more commonly used and will help you understand the concept as we move into HLOOKUP. Now, whereas VLOOKUP stands for looking vertically for a certain value and then returning value to X number of columns to the right of the vertical lookup, HLOOKUP is where you're going to look horizontal and then look down a certain number of rows to find what you need. So to help us illustrate that, I've got just a simple spreadsheet here with just a very simple mock-up of months and then sales and receipts data that's just made up data. So let's say we want to find out and be able to type in a month name and have it automatically return the sales and receipts. With the way that this data is formatted, the HLOOKUP would be the best course of action. So let's look at the formula first, and then we'll change it to where you can actually type in the month. So to do the HLOOKUP formula, you're just going to do 8 equals HLOOKUP and open your parentheses, and you'll see it's looking for the lookup value, and this is what it's going to look for in that horizontal range that we specify. So for right now, I'm just going to hard code that in. I just do a double quote and type Feb, another double quote, and then a comma because I've now completed my lookup value. Now it's asking me for the table array, and this is where do you want it to go look. So you always want to start in the upper left of where I want it to look. So in this case, it'd be C2, and I'm just going to highlight this whole section. So that's going to tell it to start in C2 and then go over until it finds what I'm looking for, in this case Feb, and then you're going to go down a certain number of row indexes. So C2 to M4 is the range that I'm looking in. Do another comma. It's asking me for the row index number. Now our first entry down here was sales, and so how many rows down is sales from the top of that array? And so Feb would be the first row and sales would be the second row. So it would be 2 rows down. You always make sure you include the one that you start with. And then I do a comma, and then it's asking for a range lookup. And this one I always do false or exact match. Or you can just type in 0, which is the numerical equivalent of false. And then I close my parentheses. Now, if I've done this correctly, it should go look for February, go down 2 rows, and return what's there. This case should be 3258. And I've done it correctly. So for receipts, it's much the same. We're going to do equals HLOOKUP. I'm going to now hard code Feb. Table array is the same, C2 to M4. The row index number now would be 1, 2, 3, and the range lookup would be 0 or false. And this should return 4960, and it did. So this is all great as if all I ever wanted to look for was February, but I want to be able to type in a month in cell D8 and have it change automatically. So let's just put Feb in for now. And in my formula, so I'm highlighting where I put my first formula, I'm just going to click up here in the formula bar, and I'm going to delete my double quotes Feb, and I'm going to reference cell D8. So what this does is it says, find what's ever in D8, look for it starting in C2 to M4. Once you find it, go down 2 rows and return what's there. So it's 3258, which for Feb is correct. And I'm going to replace that in the second formula as well, D8. Now, all I need to do now is if I want to find October, and you'll see that it changes appropriately. So now I've got a function that I can just type in the month, and it will return sales and receipts for whatever month I type in. And it's totally dynamic. So that's the HLOOKUP formula. It's very similar to the VLOOKUP formula. If you're good with the VLOOKUP formula, just think with your head turned sideways, and the HLOOKUP will come very naturally to you. And that's today's Excel tip. Have a great day.